Welcome, Red Sox Nation, to another edition of Red Sox Wrap 360. It was hot today in Fenway, but nobody was hotter than Mookie Betts. His 3 home runs leads the Red Sox past the Diamondbacks, sweeps the series. We'll talk all about the past week. Look forward to the next very important road trip, all tonight on Red Sox Wrap 360.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, yeah.
Feeling like I'm going to hit 3 home runs today.
The kid was just assaulting the monster seats.
Those
today.
are cannon. Couple cannons launched.
Couple ropes, couple laser beams going over the green monster. Ridiculous. Mookie Betts is insane. So that's why we're coming into his walk-up music this week on Red Sox Wrap 360. Got a very special guest in the house, the youngest fan of our program, Mr. Cashton Finn. How you doing, Cash? Yeah, man.
Good to have you, buddy.
He's fresh off a trip from Boston, checking out Fenway for a few. I love
Sox
it.
Game. Got a Sox game in, right?
I love that.
Yep.
So in order to get Cash in here, we had to bring his dad, Kevin Finn. He's in the house as well.
Good to be back.
Welcome back, Finnebago. Yeah, man. So how about these Red Sox, man? I mean, it started like earlier this week, dropping 2 out of 3 to New York. It looked like, maybe it was going to be a tough one, but then they rebound, sweep the Diamondbacks in spectacular fashion today.
It was tough going there a little bit in the Yankee series. Couldn't get in a rhythm, but, man, they took it out on the Diamondbacks a little bit, especially today. Zach Greinke, guy that's a pretty good pitcher still, and he got it taken to him by one Mookie Betts today.
Oh, kid's unbelievable. 3 home a game, his second 3 home a game of the season. First Red Sox player to do that since, you guessed it, Teddy Ball game way back in 1957. So this kid's absolutely raking right now.
And don't sleep on Dusty's 5 hits.
Right?
Just quietly, I think he's kind of banged up too right now.
Yeah, well, he's like getting over the flu, and he sat a game this week, because of that. And, get the flu more often, I guess.
Yeah.
He's getting weekly flu shots or whatever the reverse of those is.
And our man Rick Porcello today.
What can you say? The guy just keeps taking the ball every 5th day and doing a great job. Even in his losses, he gives them an opportunity to win.
Right.
So they're undefeated in his starts at Fenway, and that makes him himself 12-0 at Fenway this year.
Yeah.
Right? And what's he, 16-3 overall?
And I think that's tied for the league in league in wins with the guy from Toronto there for 16.
Oh, J.A. Happ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He's insane.
Apparently there was a number 1 on the staff this year.
I guess so. It's Ricky P. Because if you're starting a playoff series right now, or if you're hosting a wild card game at Fenway, you got to think Rick Porcello is your guy you give him the ball to in that game.
What I really like about him, and I guess it was tough last year because he struggled so much, but watching him win this year and how smooth, he's just kind of one of those guys that he doesn't look rattled. His first inning's the same appearance as his 7th inning, and he just kind of stays in a groove, man. And it looks pretty. He looks pretty relaxed out there.
Yeah, Eck called it easy cheese today.
Yeah, easy cheese.
It's just like, it's only like 93, 94, but it's so easy. It's that easy cheese. It comes in all quick at the end,
Yeah.
I wish I wasn't so susceptible to subliminal advertising, but rest of the game, I took down a whole sleeve of Townhouse crackers and some easy cheese. It was delicious.
Nice.
Thanks, Zach.
We got 14 free
Zach.
bottles of easy cheese coming.
Bring the easy cheese. We'll tell you where we could send them, We could use them down here at the lovely AfterBuzz TV studios here in lovely North Hollywood. That's where we bring you this fine show. You can find us here every week. Oh, yeah. Where can people tweet you, Mr. Finn, if they want to tweet you during the program tonight or during the week?
Give me a shout out at Kevin F. Finn, Finn, and see what we can bring up here, see if we can stir the conversation a little bit.
Dude up. Yeah. So how about the 23-year-old Mookie Betts and like how this guy has just kind of vaulted himself in the AL MVP discussion now? I mean, just ridiculous. Check out this guy's numbers after his day today, the 4-for-6 day he had today. He's hitting 313. So I mean, for a while there, the past few weeks, it was like, oh, can Mookie get to 3? You know, and now he is sufficiently over that, and look at his stay there. He's got a 561 slugging percentage, 91 runs, 34 doubles, 5 triples, 26 homers, and 84 RBIs. 84 RBIs, and he was pretty much hitting exclusively in the one hole until about 3 days ago.
Right. I mean, if you give him a pitch on the inside half of the strike zone, I wouldn't recommend that to him right now. I would not recommend that. That's not a good idea. Because he's going to make that a mistake. It doesn't matter what speed it's at. And the combination of him and Jackie Bradley, they've kind of been ham and egging a little bit this season. When one's been kind of off, the other one's been kind of just taking the reins a little bit and getting hot. Seems like. I mean, I don't know how the numbers stacked up that much, but I mean,
it seems like, you know, Bradley's valleys go longer than Mookie's, though. You know.
Yeah.
It just seems like Mookie, when he has a couple bad games, he just rights the ship real quick, you know?
Yep.
So, but I mean, how you doing over there, buddy?
Good.
You doing good?
Yeah.
What's this?
That's your microphone. We can hear you on that if you're talking to that. So that's what we're doing. We're talking right now.
So I can talk with you?
Yeah,
We'd prefer that you just kind of only bring Red Sox conversation, not your Stranger Things conversation.
Well, maybe we can get you in the Stranger Things after show, you know, here at AfterBuzz. You know, give it. Hopefully they go like 11 seasons, because I think you have to be, you know, maybe 17 in order to get going here. But yeah, so Mookie, it's like I still would probably, if I had a vote today, like, even though I don't have a vote, folks, rest easy, like Jose Altuve, you know, is
MVP.
still right now for MVP. But I mean, after today, Mookie's like firmly entrenched in the discussion. He goes past Poppy for the team leading homers.
Yep.
He's now leading all of Major League Baseball in extra base hits.
Yep.
I mean, this
And
kid
playing
is
right
ridiculous.
field at Fenway Park is no walk in the park.
And
I mean,
exactly.
That's a tough position.
That's a great point.
And he plays it really well. And it's kind of one of those things where no one really gives you credit for playing right field in Fenway Park, but, you know, unless you're, you know, part of Red Sox Nation, I guess. But, you know, it's a tough spot out there, and he's made it look just like, I mean, watching him in JBJ, it's just a thing of beauty.
And now a third killer bee added to the mix for that outfield mix, and Mr. Andrew Benintendi, and he just keeps raking.
I'm not sure if he's the outfield. I mean, he's going to have to be. You saw the play against the Yankees. He lost in the lights.
Yes, but he lost in the lights, and I think he has looked suspect out there in left field starting off, but he's only getting better.
Yeah.
I mean, before, it seemed like early on he was kind of scared to go to the wall. He was always reaching for it, and he went hard into the wall today and like didn't make the play on the catch, but fortunately, I don't know, somehow the ball just bounced directly off. It went green monster off the ground and then stuck right in his glove.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was kind of fortunate, but he made it look like I meant to do that, you know? It was pretty smooth.
I'm sure
Heck
he's
was all
going
over it.
He's going hard at the wall right now in practice. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's probably been
Big time. He's out there with Ruben Amaro every day before the game. Oh man, he's sick.
But I mean, he on the offensive side refuses to not get hits. I mean, just for his size, it's incredible the amount of action. I mean, he's got bat speed. His bat speed just must be astronomical. Because
Benintendi?
yes, because his hits. I mean, it's not like. I mean, he looks like he just walked out of
a salon?
a salon.
Like he just
but
walked out of a salon.
but I mean, he looks like he's
I'm
playing
soliciting a bunch of sponsors
left field
tonight.
for the American Legion or something. I mean, he's small,
Yeah.
tiny, frail,
Looking
young
17,
looking. I mean,
yeah.
But it's not like he's getting these flares and, you know, I mean, when he hits the ball, it's a hard line drive and he's spraying the ball.
Yeah. He definitely hits line drives. I love that. And, like, it seems like this is a concerted effort of the Red Sox to get these type of guys, because if Benintendi sticks in left field, like right now, I've seen enough to know what Bryce Brents brings to the table. I want to see Benintendi in there versus some lefties until Young gets back. And if he proves that he can hit lefties, well, maybe Young doesn't play, you know? He's just strictly fourth outfielder, you know?
Yeah.
But... because, I mean, the kid just looks smooth. He's not rattled at all. I mean, you know, his first start, his family was at the game, and his dad essentially said that, like, this kid does not get excited about anything. Yeah. So when he made the phone call and was actually excited, it really meant that much more because it was Andrew, you know?
Right.
But, yeah, so he looks great. But they're all three of them are very much in that same mold of quick to the inside part of the plate, hands inside the ball, quick wrist, boom, you know, and sneaky power.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, you know, and like, it's great to see. Now, Poppy, you know, as a heavyweight myself, you can't let these little guys take the team lead in home runs. So you really got to throw down the gauntlet and come back here and win it for the big boys. Come on now. The home run ball, chicks dig the long ball, that should be coming from the big guys. Now, make it happen. Bet you keep hitting them too, just Poppy hit more, you know? That's all. But, so yeah, Porcello, not to be outdone. I mean, this guy, it's just, we were all excited to have David Price, you know, coming to the team this year, and he was going to be the stopper, and then it was like Stephen Wright for the first like 3 months of the season, but all season long, this guy has been consistent. And how about early in the week when he was like, that little dust-up he almost had with the Yanks?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was kind of a weird play because, again, our guy makes an incredible throw, throws him out at third base, right?
Oh, yeah, Bradley.
Yeah.
Why are people running on him still? He's got the best arm of any center fielder.
I know, but that was an incredible play. I mean, that was like there was like two people in the league that could make that throw, and I don't know if he's making that throw like he's maybe making that throw like 2 out of 10 times. I mean, he fell down after it was incredible. But I really would love to know what that exchange was all about because it was right after that play.
Yeah. They seem to be speculating the next day or on the post game or something that it was like because he pointed to his eyes like Porcello, like oh, and that
Porcello pointed to his eyes.
Yeah, and so they were thinking it was because Headley was
trying
stealing.
To steal signals. Yeah, I read about that. Yeah,
I mean, if Chase Headley was crafty enough to steal signs from the batter's box, wouldn't he be a little better player? Because he hasn't had a good season since like 2011.
Yeah. I mean,
can you do that even? It's very like, can you see past the guys like quad, you know, the catcher?
Yeah, I mean, you can just try to and look really bad at trying to do it. You know what I mean? And there's certain catchers, if they're setting up outside and they're lazy about their signals, you know, you're more apt to try and do that, you know, and maybe if you're that type of guy, then you're really tipping your hand because maybe, I don't know, he was...
Yeah,
I mean, more often than not, usually the signal stealing is going on from second base, from what I can gather, and that's generally fair game. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's seen as fair game.
Gamesmanship.
So that's never really looked upon, and there was no one on base at the time. So I think he must have been trying to stare back, which is, you know, kind of low ball stuff.
Yeah, it's sometimes odd in baseball. It seems like there's such a fine line between gamesmanship and like things that are going to really piss a dude off.
There's definitely a lot of unwritten rules in baseball because of the amount of games they play. It's just like this whole code.
Yeah.
They do a lot of policing of themselves. Hence the Bautista bat flip. It just pissed off like
the Rangers through the whole offseason.
Yeah, just
and then they punched him in the face.
But it also pissed off a lot of the baseball people. You know, the guys, you know, the 45-year-old batting coach for, you know, whoever, you know what I mean, that didn't like how that, you know.
It's a new world, man.
It is.
We're
make America baseball fun. Make baseball fun again, like not Mike Trout.
Bryce Harper
said.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it does.
There's something to it.
There is something to it, and I love what Bryce Harper brings, and I love how he doesn't listen to any of the old school.
Yeah.
You know.
And I love what all these young guys bring. Cam Newton, you know, it's like, let them be. You know, don't have,
exactly.
if you have these guys like too much in their head, we're not going to get their 100%, 100 best, you know, athletic performance out there. You want them unbridled.
Yeah,
you
exactly. That's just a bunch of old people trying to,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
still.
Just
I mean,
not. I mean,
Come on, old people. Make
old
the
people.
transition, all right? Start it now by following Kevin Finn on Twitter and tweet him up.
Yeah.
So what I took from that was that, you know, Rick Porcello's like, I see him on the mound being like, man, I really like being a part of this rivalry. I really love being a part of this rivalry. I really love pitching here. Yeah. You know, this rivalry really hasn't been that fiery for a while. It surely hasn't.
Yeah.
And then I think he was just, you know, a kid from Jersey who's got a little bit of an attitude is just like, I'm going to get fired up here.
Yep.
You know? And I don't put it past that, you know, if you've ever met anybody from Jersey.
What's your take on the A-Rod departure?
I mean, good riddance, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just kind of a strange, because like at the beginning of the year, it was just like this is how we all expected it to end. But then there was this weird time where it was like he's reversing like how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And he was on like that tear, and then, but it's kind of interesting like how quickly the Yankees, I mean,
Like turn around?
turned
Like-
on him. I mean, the blood is just, the guy has just taken a flamethrower to every bridge he's ever crossed.
So you think by them, like, it was a surprise that they offered him that,
I don't
like,
think anything's a surprise.
advisory position? Or...
Yeah, because I think it's hilarious that people are actually taking this retirement seriously, because I guarantee you he's going to be playing for some Florida team next year. Dude, he's going for the 700 home runs.
Yeah.
He's not stopping at 696. No way, dude. He's good. The only reason he's playing is for ego right now.
Yeah, no question.
So you know, I think it's kind of humorous that people are taking his retirement seriously, because he's an egomaniac and he needs to get over 700 home runs at a minimum. And the only thing I could see is, you know, like a little bit of a conspiracy theory amongst MLB to like not sign this guy.
Yeah.
You know, I could see that happening, but I don't see him willingly walking away at
Right.
this point. To think that he's not going to try and take a shot in spring training right there next year is, to me, is naive.
And he might not even have to wait until next year, because today, Giancarlo Stanton, it was stated, is done for the season. So he's got a groin issue, so he's done for all the rest of the regular season, so like 6 weeks.
Oof.
And that's where he resides,
Yeah.
Miami. So I don't know, maybe they kind of can platoon him at first with Justin Bohr. I mean,
The only thing is, this is a National League team. He's
has to play.
He's a
he's
heavyweight.
a DH, big time.
You know what I mean? So
I just think like for maybe a Marlins team trying to boost ticket sales for a little bit, you know.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see him in Tampa Bay next
Yeah,
year.
as a
That's where I
DH,
think he's going to be.
right?
Tampa Bay.
Why not?
You know, if Joe Madden was still there, I'd say probably not. But because, you know, the things that kind of the wheels are off there a little bit now, and
It really makes me sad though to kind of see that how the Yankees are just making this very mature, quick turnaround, you know, of their team, and like restocking their farm system, and
they're
like
not going anywhere. I mean, they're just that's you know, this is the modern day rebuild. I mean, it's especially when the Yankees. So
But
they have
I mean,
smart people there.
they're always like, in the past they've been like this year. So they've been stupid, and they've maybe traded some guys they shouldn't have traded as youngsters, you know, and like that model was great for a Red Sox fan to watch the Yankees employing that.
Yeah.
But now it's like, seems they finally wised up and realized they have a smart baseball man in Brian Cashman, and just kind of give him the keys to the castle. But, whew, man, I'll tell you.
You know, it's not to completely get off topic here, but when you talk about the
love
guys that have left it's amazing to me what Robinson Cano has been able to do post Yankees. I mean, not that I thought that he was only good because he was on the Yankees, But part of you kind of thinks like when the Yankees, they kind of let him go, but not really. I mean, he signed a monster contract there, but like there's just part of you is like, well, if they didn't, if they're not gonna make that kind of commitment, there must be something, must be something else there. And it's like, no.
Turns out he can still rake.
Still a stud for like a long period of time now.
I know.
He's good.
Yeah, it seems like it was going kind of, it wasn't the best up there, and they were like, I think Andy Van Slyke was a coach up there and said, he's the worst player I've ever seen. Like, when he was on his way out the door, obviously hyperbolic, but just kind of, he didn't have the intense thing you want out of, like, your best player.
Right.
But ever since Edgar Martinez got there as the hitting instructor, hitting coach, like halfway through last season, he's just been raking.
He kills it. I mean, he killed the Red Sox when they came through.
Oof. The who they're making comparisons to is like the next Robinson Cano. Have you heard that? One Mr. Jan Moncada down on the farm down in Portland.
I haven't heard that.
That
but
farm
that would
may be getting
nice.
too small for him down there.
Yeah.
Do we see him in 2016 as a member of the Red Sox?
Well, it's going to be
Or
some
27
interesting.
you're
There's
gonna
going to be a
say
lot of
next year?
interesting roster moves, I think, as we proceed here. There seems to be a lot of willingness to move the roster pretty liberally and freely this year. They're not afraid to send people up and down. It seems like he might get a shot this year.
Third base?
Well, that's
It's kind of looking like the only spot.
And Farrell certainly has lost some faith in Travis Shaw, and he should have, but he hasn't been great against lefties, and Moncada's just, everything you read, I haven't seen any AA games, but
Yeah. Well, in the Futures game, it's like he was the MVP of that game.
Yeah.
He hit a bomb. He stole a base. He was looking good defensively. He was kind of showing all the tools. And that, so just to know that he has not only those 5 tools, but that 6th tool, which is the ability to rise to the occasion when the occasion calls for it.
Good point.
To see that little thing happen in the Futures game, like, oh, there's going to be a lot of eyes on me today. I'm just going to come and perform and just, blow the cover off the ball. But he was great in that game, and I'm glad we didn't deal him. But yeah, he could. I was thinking they would try and maybe keep him away till next year, but that Travis Shaw, Aaron Hill platoon doesn't really,
I'm not
doesn't
big on the
exactly
Aaron
say,
Hill acquisition. I mean,
No?
1 home run.
It's true, but like he hasn't really got an opportunity. And like he hit some balls good this week when they faced a few lefties and he started like 2 or 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
He was starting to get locked in a little bit. And that guy's a major league hitter. I think that's not a bad pickup. It's just, to have this kid in Moncada, it's kind of hard to have this big shiny toy.
Yeah.
And not you got a Ferrari down in the minors. It's one thing if there's, an older model Ferrari at third base.
No.
There isn't. No. Besides, were we comparing
boy.
Pablo to a Ferrari? Or
Jeez.
somebody did early in the season?
Yeah, that was the whole thing. His agent was saying,
Comes full circle. Oh, his agent.
I can't come on the show
So he
without
can't be
bringing
a Ferrari, Pablo, yeah. But, it's not, but it's, when there's a Datsun playing third, it's like, you got to think, let's bring up the youngin'.
Okay.
Maybe not a Datsun.
That's tough. I mean, they're calling him
Cavalier?
mayor of
Red
Ding
Cavalier?
Dong City or whatever. There for a little while.
Ding Dong City. What a great word. What a great nickname. It's so good. So the ageless one, Dustin Pedroia, him and his influenza, 5 hits today. Rumor has it he hasn't really liked going up to the top of the order, but he's done nothing but
He's
hit.
never liked that in his career. He's always been pretty vocal about that.
He wants to be an RBI guy. I mean, he kind of really, like, when he was hitting in the 4 hole a few times early in the week, it was like, oh, yeah, this is kind of like, maybe it was last week.
He's a veteran. He knows where the meat on the bones is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He knows where it exists.
I guess that's one way. I think he leads the AL in grounding into double plays, so I guess he can't, leading off the game, he can't ground into a double play.
Yeah. He does hit a lot of hard ground balls. The shortstop, second base. That's tough.
It was just a case of kind of Xander and Poppy getting cold at the same time, and Bradley kind of as well. That kind of prompted this. The Mookie's still raking, so as the old saying goes, you put your best hitter in the 3-hole. Boom, let's get him in the 3-hole. Especially where those other guys aren't really hitting, and hopefully it'll get them going. And also with the Benintendi call up, I also thought that was kind of a situation where, this giant lineup needs a jolt. And it's like when you look. And you hear all the talk around baseball, and you hear all talk about, that lineup has great length, or is very long. That's because you have guys up and down the order that are tough at bats.
Yeah.
And now look at that bottom 3 in our order now.
Yeah.
You got Holt and Benintendi and Sandy Leone, and not necessarily in that order. It's ridiculous. It's a murderer's row.
I've got a scene that I would pay, I would literally pay thousands of dollars to see this scene, though.
Ooh,
okay?
This one's for you, Cash.
It's all right. Benintendi's at his locker. He's by himself. It's like pregame. 3-4 hours before game time, right?
Okay.
And they're out there taking batting
So Petey's
practice.
only been there for 5 hours at this point.
Yeah, but Petey's already been there for 5 hours, right? and he got there an hour and a half before Benintendi, right? You know what I mean? And Benintendi got 3 hits yesterday. Say. This is the scene I'm painting, right? Okay. So now Petey just finished his batting practice, okay? So he's coming back into the locker room. It just so happens that the locker room has cleared out except for one, Benintendi. Oof. And he's at his locker. The exchange between Dustin Pedroia. Now, I love Dustin Pedroia. I think he's a team guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No question.
But he's also the emperor of that locker room.
Yes.
And he likes to mind mess with the younger players, certainly rookies, certainly a high-end rookie.
Mind messer.
But a guy that's basically coming up and playing left field, but he's a second baseman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who?
Benintendi.
No, he's an outfielder.
He's an outfielder.
He is,
Oh, okay. But
does this change the scene setting at all?
No, not really.
All right,
I thought he played a little bit of infield, but just what is it like there when Pedroia comes in? Is he all positive, or is he just giving a little of the shaking up the piggy bank a little bit?
I think all the youngins get to shake up the piggy bank from old number 15, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
he is.
Just a little reminder of who runs the clubhouse.
Yeah, I think he realizes that is a proper rite of passage of young players to come up and have the veterans make them taste it a little bit. Anybody hitting you up with the tweets? Ben said he might tweet in tonight. Old Ben Fay on the East Coast. What's up, Ben? We'll give him a shout out. But yeah, this guy, he's gonna be in that first one hole for a while now. If he keeps raking. 5 hits today. He gives you such fantastic at bats, and we just got to get Xander going. And this lineup will be once again.
I think
prolific.
Xander's going to be fine. We all know that, right?
Everybody had a hit today in the lineup except Shaw, came in halfway through. Hanram had 3. How about Hanram the other night? 2 3-run bombs.
He's going to be on a 3-game bereavement.
Oh, is that what's happening?
Yes.
He lost somebody in his family?
That was the standard bereavement. 3 games though.
That is probably a pretty good thing because
a little rest for the wrist.
A little rest for the wrist, yeah. Because I was happy to see those 2 moon rockets he hit the other night because I was having kind of flashbacks to last year when he ran into the wall in early May, and hurt his shoulder and then didn't hit home runs for the rest of the year. It's like I was thinking of that with this wrist because then he had a few games where he didn't really hit, And
he's back to a Ferrari. He gets a flat tire. He's not good.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. Put that fix-a-flat in there. It's good to go. But
give him a clear his head a little bit. Hopefully, wasn't too close to home.
So if that means he's in the bereavement list, you're gonna see a lot of T-Shard first, and a lot of your boy Aaron Walter Hill.
Yes,
going to be over at third. Did not know his middle name was Walter, so someone said it the other day on the podcast. Walter Hill, one of my favorite directors,
right
from the 70s. Warriors, anybody come out to play?
Warriors,
check it out. Can you dig it, Cash? Can you dig it? Had a baby. Yeah. So what was sent a collective hush over Red Sox Nation was Poppy fouling the ball off his foot the other night, because that just screamed, oof.
It did. It was a little bit scary. Came back and played the next night, which was
huge.
Really, to me, sent a message to myself that he's going for it. This is it.
Yeah.
He's not, because in past, they've really tried. The past couple of years, it seems like they've really tried to balance his health as far as everything, and this is a little bit more of a go for it. I mean, I was surprised to see him out there, especially with that. That's like a bruise, right? Yeah. If you're okay, then it's like a really, really bad bruise.
Yeah. And it's crazy because the one thing he keeps complaining about and what he keeps pointing to as to why he's retiring and why he can't do this past this year is his feet.
Right.
And then Achilles, he goes and just drills a ball off his foot.
Right.
It's like, I can guarantee if a baseball hit my foot at 100 miles an hour, I'd be on the DL.
Oh yeah,
it'd be a DL stint.
Yeah, that would not be pretty. I don't think
be raising it up
in
here.
Yeah,
big old cast. Oh boy, how you doing over the Cash? You hanging in? It's almost over, buddy.
We took Cash to what was it called today?
Where'd you go?
Trampoline place. He jumped like a maniac for like 4 hours. No, an hour. What was the name of that jumping place?
Sky Zone.
Sky Zone.
Nice.
Also, we went to the mall where that is so awesome.
Oh, the virtual reality.
Oh,
very interesting.
Nice.
It's coming.
Nice.
Also, I did it at Sky Zone.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to bring up, okay, and Stephen Wright, guy that hasn't been so good for the past month or so. Was great in his last start.
Mm-hmm.
Guy we've really came to rely upon has not been making his starts now because he's got a bum shoulder from
pinch running.
Like,
I heard a lot of calls for Farrell's head after that.
Wow. This calls for Farrell's head on a daily basis.
Yeah, but they've really.
And I'm usually an apologist, but why?
That was a tough one, man. You don't just this. I mean,
I would think, even if I was looking at my starting rotation first off of my pinch runners, I'm thinking Stephen Wright's probably at the bottom of that list.
The bottom of the list. I mean, I'm guessing he's probably the least flexible out of all the pitchers. He probably has to do the least amount of running.
I'm thinking Rick Porcello is a better call.
Well, I'm glad he didn't do that. Well, I mean, whatever.
Same thing happened, maybe.
I mean, here's the deal. About that type of approach. Joe Madden's really kind of bringing it back a little bit, Little League style this year with a lot of what he's done, and he's done a lot, puts a pitcher in left field and brings it back in the same inning and all that stuff, and that's great and all that if you're a National League team,
right?
Because that becomes part of your identity, and guys know when they go in and practice that they're going to do that. But a guy like Stephen Wright is not running the bases during practice, and he's not practicing that, and his body's not used to it, and they're horses, that's the kind of the comparison that's always used with pitchers, and they are. It's perfect because they're thoroughbreds. And when you just tell them they're going to run a quarter mile, they run a quarter mile. When you take them and tell them they're going to run a 2 mile, they're going to blow a hamstring or something.
Yeah.
And
then it's out to the glue factory.
Exactly.
Wow, that's tough.
So no glue factory for Stephen Wright.
No wonder why Poppy was in there the next day.
Exactly.
He's like, no, I'm not limping.
Yeah.
I'm not limping. It's like that. Is that a Family Guy episode?
Family Guy.
Yeah. Nice. He's just like, oh no, not me. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Conversely, is there an opportunity to be set out to stud? If you do make it through it healthy, that'd be great.
Well,
that's where Poppy's going. What's he going to be doing down the beach in the Dominican?
And what's a bummer about that is there's really no good from Stephen Wright getting 2 weeks off. It's not like, you know what I mean, he throws 98 and maybe at this point in the season, give him a little rest. He's a knuckleballer. He needs to be pitching. He needs to be playing. He might as well be playing winter ball down in Puerto Rico because he throw that thing every day. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of a bummer. They're definitely putting the best face they can on it. Not one of John Farrell's better moves.
Yeah. His absence has given us yet another opportunity to see Mr. Clay Buchholz. Happy birthday, by the way, to Clay Buchholz today. Back in the starting rotation.
Yep.
I'm happy to see that. He has looked good in this latest bullpen stint. And even yesterday, he went 4 1/3 and gave up 3 earned runs. But at times, he didn't look too bad.
I'm done with Clay Buchholz.
He's going to have one more turn.
I think I mean, what you're going to see, I think, what you've seen with them pretty much of late is he can't get through the first 2 or 3 innings. So it's like our first inning. And so I know, I mean, maybe he's kind of gone after a little bit of that in relief because he's had to kind of come in. But, I mean, he hasn't gotten that much work. A lot of the work is kind of just...
Yeah, mop up duty.
I mean, not quite mop up, but, I mean, it was the other night. And, I don't have a lot of hope for him. And right now, it's a bit of a weird roster spot, to be honest with you. I'm sure there's other ways that John Farrell would rather be using that position.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean... It's just he's been such a tough guy to figure out that there's always that possibility that he does figure it out and goes on a stretch of 6 weeks where he's just unhittable.
I mean, that's the other thing. You know, he he has great stuff. So, you know, maybe he's just pissed off enough to say, you know what, I'm going to go on a run here. I'd like to see it. It's a win-win for the Sox, really. I mean, you know.
They have a team option on him for $13 million for next year. Does that get picked up?
God, I hope not.
In this pitching poor league, what do you expect for $13 million a year?
It's true. I mean, you know, at least bring him back. Maybe try and bring him into spring training and see where the starting rotation ends up, and then maybe you deal him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know he probably has all kinds of no trade at this year because he's a 10-year vet. Where he is.
Ugh.
I'm not interested in being involved with Clay Buchholz anymore. No.
So with today's win, that's the Sox third in a row. That puts them at 64-52. Still 2 games back of Toronto. Toronto and Baltimore both won today. I don't know if you saw that Baltimore game, but San Francisco was up on them 7-1 going into the 7th inning, and Baltimore came back and won at 8-7. San Francisco's their bullpen is not the same bullpen as it's been over these past, last 3 even years when they've been making runs to the title. So looking ahead, okay, this ends a homestand for the Sox. Because of the sweep, they were able to make it a winning homestand, thank God.
Yep.
At 4-2, so it's not 2 back-to-back losing homestands. So now they go out on a very pivotal road trip. 11 games
Huge.
in 11 days over 4 cities. This is kind of a murderer's row, So, I mean,
David Price
has turned the corner.
Yeah, and it's time for him to really. It's going to come together here. I feel like this is a moment where if you go out and you can he's going to probably get 2 starts, right?
Yep.
If you can get me 2 wins, at this point, it's all's forgotten.
Right.
You're right back where you're supposed to be. I mean, if they start winning games right now when they have to at the right time, then everyone's going to forget about not everyone's going to forget about it, but pitching in Boston is tough, and it takes an adjustment, and he's allowed the time to kind of catch on. And if he can go out there on the road and lead this team along with Porcello, and a couple of the wins fall in line. I mean, this is a huge road trip. This can really get the momentum. This was the building of the wave if they're going to make a big crash in the playoffs, I think.
I was really excited on that last road trip at how many good starting, quality starts they got. Their starting staff really kept them in the game a lot in that. And it was just because the bats were cold that they didn't win more games on that, And, so when you look at this team, it's like there's been times, the hitting's been the most consistent, and then the other 2 facets of the game are like starting pitching and relief pitching.
Right.
You can say 4 facets if you say defense, but that's been pretty consistent for the Sox all year. But that hitting has been the one that's carried them. But now that you see maybe this starting pitching is coming up, and we've seen flashes of a bullpen taking shape, you got to love having Kimbrel back and still having Brad Siegler back in there, and Matt Barnes is emerging as a quality arm down there at the end.
Maybe they pick up Jonathan Papelbon.
Oof.
Just released by the Nationals.
Ben texted me early in the week about them doing that. I said, God, I hope not.
No, I think there's upper management that they're like, swearing that there's no way that they'd let that happen while they still work there. I think
Right.
he pissed off enough people that he kind of burned his bridge there, and he left enough memories, throughout the management side. I'm talking outside of baseball. Him and Farrell, I think, probably still have a good relationship, but
I heard he gave Jed Hoyer a call, trying to latch on with the Cubs. So just looking ahead to this next week, because we'll be back with you next Sunday. So they have that game, which is a makeup game from the first series in the year tomorrow
Tito.
at Cleveland.
Yep.
Going to see Tito, and then to Baltimore for 2, and then they'll have finish the week with a 4-game set at Detroit, who they have a little payback going to
Yep.
Detroit after Detroit swept them in the last series of Fenway. Very odd scheduling in the fact that the first game in Detroit is an afternoon game at 1:10 p.m.
right after a late night game for the Sox
Right,
too.
right.
They have a late.
Why is that? I mean, is Kiss playing Comerica Park Thursday night?
I don't know.
I mean, that's insane. It's like a getaway day on the front of a series.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough little spot for them to get through. O'Brien was talking about that with Eckersley the other day. Saying,
Yeah. And these are like, Cleveland's a quality team, Baltimore's a quality team, Detroit's a quality team. After that, to finish up the road trip, you have to go to Tampa. And Tampa's been playing better ball lately. It seems like Odorizzi and Smiley, those guys have kind of exhaled after not being traded, and they're pitching much better right now. So they're going to be no joke.
Rays always play the Sox tough. They played them tough this year. They always give them a tough run.
They do. So I'm hoping, you hope they can get out of the 7 games this week, at least go 3-4, 4-3,
We'll see.
We'll see.
A lot of pressure on this road trip to make some things happen.
Lot of pressure. So we're going to wrap it up here in the next few minutes. Anything you wanted to get off your chest before next week, or anything we didn't talk
Where are
about?
you? I got a question for you.
Okay, all right, bring it to me.
Where are you at with Dave O'Brien?
I'm not blown away by Dave O'Brien.
Because I gotta say, especially in a game like today, where it's 16-2,
Right.
that was Orsillo's
Wheelhouse.
that was just his wheelhouse, And I've actually tuned into a couple Padre games this year just because he's doing the commentary.
But I also hear Dick Enberg down there in some of the games too. Is he not doing all of them, Orsillo? It's
I don't know. But I really miss the personality, and he
And Remy was so good.
And it's like I feel like Remy now he's not as good, and he's really there's no chemistry in my opinion between him and O'Brien, and I also feel Jerry Remy feeling that his job is threatened and that he's been told by producers or whoever that he has to do more and he has to be more involved. And when he starts getting all fired up and starts doing this stuff, it really it comes off as awkward to me, and it comes off as something that he wasn't doing in years past. I mean, he would give you in-depth details. Hey kids, this is, great form and all that stuff. Right. But now every once in a while I'm noticing he gets up on these big runs and it's just out of place. But
it's too bad. I mean, they broke up that great team, but, nevertheless.
What are you going to do?
Hey, Cash, we're going to get out of here. Do you want to do a shout out to anybody?
What's that?
You want to say anything to anybody? Maybe give out happy birthday wishes to anybody?
Yeah, happy birthday to Mama. Her birthday's tomorrow.
Right?
Say happy birthday, Mama.
Happy birthday, Mom.
There you go. A happy 29th to Michelle Finn.
21st.
Oh, there you go. We'll have to get a few drinks. Oh, man. Well, that sounds good. Well, for Kevin and Cash Finn, I'm Mike Conley. This has been another edition of Red Sox Wrap 360. Thanks for tuning in with us, gang. Go Sox.
Go Sox.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.